Hey guys, what's up? This is Cody back here once again for a review, and for tonight's review, I'm going to be talking about the latest film from one of my favorite independent horror directors. I have actually reviewed his two previous films on my channel, and when I first heard that this one was coming out, I was really excited to see it. But this is the latest film from Dustin Wayde Mills, and the movie is called Her Name Was Torment. And this is actually the first film that he put out on his new production company called Crumple Shack Films. I think it's what the company's called. I'll leave a link down below to the Facebook page. But yeah, like I said, this was his the first film that he's put out on his company. And when I first heard that it was coming out, I was really excited to see it. Because as you guys know, I've seen his I reviewed his last two films, The Ballad of Skinless Pete and Kill That Bitch, and I've really enjoyed both those ones. So I've been waiting to see this new one, and I actually just got a chance to see it on this website called Independent Horror TV, which is basically a website that shows independent horror films. And I must say, I was pretty impressed with this one. It had a decent story, lots and lots of gore. This is probably one of his gorier films. And there was actually some pretty creepy moments too, I must say. It takes a lot for a movie to really creep me out, and I must say this movie was it had some good creepy moments. But basically the film starts off, and it's the movie's shot mostly in black and white, and the opening scene has a you just see a camera, and it's really grainy. It looks like it's shot on 8mm maybe, and you see whoever's holding the camera walking outside through this neighborhood, and whoever it is following this guy that's walking around. And you see that person, hiding behind trees as the guy's basically just walking up to his house. And before he gets into his house, the person basically knocks the guy out and ends up taking him captive. And then, the screen actually goes blank, and you start hearing a doctor or a investigators talking about this woman who they have in custody, and she is actually responsible for the deaths of 27 murders. And basically they're actually interviewing her in an interrogation room, and they're talking about how that she's also she's into necrophilia. She basically has dismembered all of her victims and has basically kept most of their body parts in little jars that she keeps around in her house. But as the movie goes on, things start getting a little bit more interesting. During the interrogation scene, you just see her sitting at a table, and there's in most interrogation rooms, it's just a camera, and it's just pointed at her, and her face is blurred out. And the person that's interviewing her says, that she has these really bad scars on her face, and they're not sure how they got there. They're talking to her and asking her different questions. Like the first thing that they ask her is what is her name, and she doesn't answer. And he keeps asking her, do you understand what I'm saying? And she says yes, but she never gives out her name. So they decide to move on. And while this is happening, it cuts to her, you see her actually torturing the guy that you saw at the beginning of the movie. And basically how she is torturing him is she's got this really strange mask on. It's really hard to describe the way that the mask looks. If you look at the cover of the DVD, you'll see what it looks like, but it's just a really, really crazy looking mask. And she's also wearing an apron, and it's one of those aprons that butchers use at slaughterhouses so that when they're cutting up, cows or whatever, the blood doesn't get on them. And you can see through it, and she's topless throughout the whole movie, and she's basically got this guy strapped into her chair, and she basically goes into torturing him. And she does a lot of really horrible things to him. Like at one point, she pulls out one of his teeth. She yanks off his fingernails. She even yanks out his eye at one point, and it's really bloody and pretty graphic. Like I said, this is probably one of the goriest films that I think Dustin Mills has done, and yeah, it's pretty realistic too, I must say. The gore effects are really good, but it's not so much the torture scenes that really got to me. It's what the woman is talking about when they ask her, why she's doing this. At one point, she starts talking about that the reason why she's doing the murders is because is because of the oversee her or overlook her, I think is what she called the so-called person that is causing her to commit these murders, the overlooker. And when they ask her, who's that, she doesn't. She just points up to the sky, and they start to believe that this is somehow related to God, that she's one of those people that believes that God is speaking to her and is making her do these murders. She also begins to talk about how that angels whisper to her in her head and tell her to commit these murders, and that they all want the body parts of the victims as a way of making them stronger in some way. And the investigator, you never see anyone else in the movie except for her and the person that she is torturing. But he starts to talk about how that he thinks that this is related to how some serial killers or murderers or what have you, they think that they're doing this for the good of God, as if God is speaking to them or angels are speaking to them and telling them to do these certain things. But as the movie goes on, things get a little bit more interesting, and yeah, I think that's about as much as I'm going to say. Now I'm going to go ahead and give my own overview on the movie. First off, I want to say this movie was actually really short. It was only about 50 minutes long, so it's probably one of the shorter movies that I've seen of Dustin Mills. And like I said, the whole film is done in really grainy, sort of like 8mm, way, shot completely in black and white, except for a few moments where it's in color. Like at one point, you see a close-up of the guy that she's torturing, and his eyes are blue, and that's really the only color that's coming out is his eyes, and that they're blue. There's another point in the film where she actually, I don't want to say what she actually does to him, but she ends up hurting him really badly, causing lots of blood to squirt out. And right before it happens, the whole movie goes from black and white to color, and then when the blood comes out, it's just pure red, and the colors are very vibrant, and it looks really good. That was probably one of my favorite moments of the film. The movie, there's a lot of distortion, which is how it was meant to be. Especially in one scene when they're talking about how she was into necrophilia, but unlike other people that are into necrophilia, she was only into having sex with one corpse. And there's even a scene in which she is pleasuring herself over a corpse, and it's really grainy, really fuzzy. You can see a lot of distortion. It looks like basically an old VHS in some ways, or a very bad camera. So you have that. The sound in it, there's really no music in it. There's the sound in it is very distorted, like I said, and it sounds like an old VHS tape. Or, mostly it sounds like a lot of static, like when your TV goes out and it's really just staticky all over, and it's just, and that's basically what it sounds like. It's just a lot of distortion most of the time. There is some music in the movie, but most of it is just distortion and things like that. So the whole movie is basically, it's really an uncomfortable feeling. The whole movie is meant to make you feel uncomfortable, and I think it does that in a way. Because I did feel very uncomfortable watching this movie at some points, which it's a good thing. If a movie can affect me in some way, then I like it. The gore in it was really great. The acting from the two actors, very, very good. Let's see what else. There's just a lot of different things I could talk about. Like I said, the movie is very distorted. Yeah, if you're into any of Dustin Mills' previous films, then I definitely recommend checking this movie out. It's pretty different from his other movies, but you can tell it's a Dustin Mills film. And I must say, and as I said, it's one of the goriest movies that I think I've seen of him. So if you're into grainy, looks like it was shot with horrible cameras, and tons of gore, then this is definitely one movie for you. But yeah, I'll leave a link down below so you can pick up your copy of the movie, and I'll leave a link down below to the Facebook page of Dustin's new production company. And yeah, so thanks for watching my review. And Dustin, if you're watching this, good job, man. You've impressed me once again, and I cannot wait to see your next movie, man, because you're definitely one of my favorite directors. I love your films, and I'll always support them. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good one.